Happy Thursday. Welcome to Couch Talks, our Q&A episode to the Feeling Things podcast. I'm Amy.
And I'm Kat. And quick disclaimer before we get into today's question that although we're answering your questions and I'm a therapist, this does not actually serve as a replacement or a substitute for actual mental health services.
Right.
But we hope it helps.
Thank you for getting that out of the way. Always got to have the disclaimer. I was listening to a different podcast this morning, and they also gave a disclaimer.
Oh, because
I guess they're therapists.
Yeah.
You sent it to me. That makes sense now.
Wait, I didn't.
They are both licensed therapists. That's cute. And they do a podcast together. Sometimes you wish that you had another licensed therapist with you. Are you glad you have like a commoner? Gen Pop.
You're just a common person.
Yeah. Just a bachelor degree, agricultural development, Texas
Which
A&M.
I think is so interesting about you.
Yeah. Well, it's because I was political science. You know what happened, right?
I think you told me and now I can't remember.
Well, it was government political science and I hated it. I started to find my junior year, I was getting into my upper level classes and I was like,
what were you thinking you were
government
gonna be?
is not for me. Wasn't really sure. I just liked the idea of being around like politics and being around it. I wanted to like plan the events and the part like
a rally.
I wanted a clipboard. Then I realized
how many jobs
so many jobs that I could have with a clipboard. I really don't know. I grew up, there was a lobbyist in my neighborhood, like my friend's dad, he was a lobbyist. And I don't know, it seemed entertaining. He had a lot of dinners.
I want to go to dinners and I want to hold a clipboard. So I'm going to do political science.
I think I liked the idea too of being a part of something that was for the greater good and change. And then I think as I got older and got into the weeds of it, I'm like, I don't know that I agree with all of this, like a blanket where now I want to dedicate and dive all in and be a part of this. And it just seemed very taxing and toxic. Taxing and toxic.
So then
I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do. So I went to my advisor and I was like, look, I'm in my junior year and I still would like to graduate relatively on time. So what can we do? And she said, oh, well, you have enough poli-sci hours for an emphasis, which is not the same thing as a minor. It's just under, I think you had 12 hours of something. And she's like, you could do agricultural development with an emphasis in poli-sci, and you can be out in 4.5 years. So I had to do an extra semester. So I graduated in December.
Or you could have just done one, or that would be 2 more years. It was 2.
I guess if I completely switched to something, but with ag development, you needed an emphasis, and that they didn't care what the emphasis was, but my emphasis was government. And I want to be truthful and honest, and I use the word graduate. I did not graduate at that time.
Wait, what?
I did not. I walked across the stage and got an empty diploma.
Everybody does.
Case. Yours was empty?
You don't get your diploma at graduation. They just give you a book.
I wouldn't know because I had a tube. I got a tube and the tube was empty. Because I was still 3 hours short.
Oh, so they did that on purpose.
I was taking a correspondence class, and this was back in 2000 and
what's correspondence?
2002, I guess. Or I guess 2003 was when I graduated, but you get what I'm saying. It was early 2000s. Correspondence, you know how now you can take classes online. No? Like from another university.
Oh. I thought the class was called correspondence.
So I was at Texas A&M and I was taking a 3-hour, can't even remember the class, correspondence through Texas Tech because I was supposed to take it like over the summer and be done with it. Well, I never took it and I kept delaying it. Classic ADHD. And it was by mail. There was no online. I was receiving the class by mail. I had to fill things out, mail it back. We should have known.
That's like the 1800s. That's what you mean by correspondence.
Correspondence.
Okay.
So I did not have the executive function to get that sort of thing done. But I kept saying, I'll get it. So they're like, okay, you're going to walk across the stage and you'll get your diploma. I mean, everybody was there. My parents came. They saw me walk. My boyfriend at the time, he was there. Everybody, I graduated. Like I had my cap, my gown, all the things. And so after I walked and I moved back to Austin, I was like, correspondence, what? I didn't finish it until
Oh, I was gonna say, have you graduated?
now I have my degree. It's over there. I'll show
Okay.
it to you. It's
Okay,
in a
I
frame.
believe you.
I framed it. Uh, so you know how I mentioned it was 2003. So funny thing about it, my degree says 2008 because it wasn't until 2008 that I finally called Texas A&M and told them my predicament. And I said, what do I do now? Because I'm still 3 hours short and I need my diploma. I need my degree. I'm tired of living a lie.
Wait a second. If you never got it,
I would
no,
tell you
has
right.
job ever
I
has a
would
job ever been like, show me your diploma?
no.
That's my thought too. It's like I could have not graduated and just said I did.
No, you need letters behind your name. You need
Well,
credentials
okay.
because you're a licensed
Okay, that's
therapist.
okay. You're right. I couldn't. But if I wasn't doing this, if I just graduated and then wanted to get a job somewhere random, I don't think that they'd be like, send me your transcript. They just read your resume and they believe you.
Yeah. So I always had the intention of like, because I was still in the process of taking the class. I'm like, I just have to mail that one last thing. And so in my mind, I felt like, it's fine. My first job out of college, my first real legit where I had to have a resume, I was working with a friend. His family ran the business.
We're selling countertops.
When I slabs
oh,
and granite, travertine tile, yes. When they became a countertop, I didn't work in that end. That would be the fabricator, but we were the wholesaler.
okay. You were selling
Yes.
slabs.
I worked for a natural stone importer exporter
Okay.
in sales, and it was a family business of my friend. So he worked there. We had multiple other friends that worked there. That's also why the job was awesome. I loved it. And they weren't like nitpicking my resume apart because I was Luke's friend.
But they didn't ask for your
No.
diploma. So you never really had to finish.
No. And then, of course, radio didn't care.
Yeah.
But it was when I started radio, I still said, oh, I went to Texas A&M. Yeah, I graduated in 03. I never clarified. And then one day on the radio, I decided I can't hold this in any longer. And that was in 2008. And I said, I'm going back to school. And they're like, what do you mean you're going back to school? I said, to get my degree. And they're like, you have your degree from Texas A&M. And I was like, no, I don't. So
I'm tired of living a lie.
yeah. So I lived in North Carolina at the time because that's when I was married to Ben and he was in the Air Force. And I had more free time because he was in Afghanistan. I had the time. And after I talked to A&M and they told me what to do, they said I needed 3 hours and I could pick from this list of courses. And so I think I chose sociology and I took it at the local community college.
Wait.
Mhm.
You literally had to go back to school.
Yeah, I took a 3-hour class from the community college in Southern Pines, North Carolina. I can't even remember the name of the community college. Maybe
Southern Pines.
I think it had a different name, but I went there, completed my 3 hours, sent it off to Texas A&M, and they mailed me my diploma. So it says 2008, and some parts of me
that's when you graduated.
that's when I graduated. Some parts of me were so self-conscious that I thought, oh, well, it says 2008. Well, lucky for me, my real graduation date was 2003. If you cut an 8.5 or wide out half of an 8, it'll look like a 3.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't do that, but I thought about it. But then I said to myself, I don't need to be ashamed by this. Did it go the way I wanted it to go? Did I handle it the way I wanted to? No. But did I do it and I completed it? Yes.
I don't think that I would have gone back and finished at that point.
I needed to.
Just for
Just
yourself.
for myself.
Yeah. So how many years did it take you to graduate?
Well, okay. So if I entered college in fall of 1999, so it took me 9 years.
Okay.
But from
you did
03 to 08, I wasn't, it's not like I was actively in class.
I'm surprised that there's not like a statute of limitations where like if you don't finish your degree in like this many years, maybe it's 10 years. Oh my gosh, can you imagine emailing them like 1 year later and then being like, I'm sorry, you have to start over.
Start over?
Like if there was like, you have to, like for getting your master's, like a lot of these programs, you can go part-time, but you have to finish it in 5 years or something. So if you don't finish it in 5 years, you have to start over.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Like, what if they said that? Do you think you would start over? Or do you think you'd be like, all
Oh, I
set?
could not. I don't. I was working a full-time job and married and trying to get pregnant
So no.
and make friends. Like, no.
Yeah. And at that point, like, what would it
I have thought about going back to school now, though.
for?
And with the whole schedule thing, I don't know when I would quite go, but I think I just am in a different place with learning. I would appreciate
Mhm.
it more.
Yeah.
So I want to go back and pick, things that really are interesting to me. Psychology in
Mhm.
that vein. I don't want to become a therapist by any means. No, thank you.
You want
But
that
it's
knowledge.
fascinating to me. And even that's probably why I picked that sociology class, like, because
Mhm.
I was older and more mature, and I was like, well, this is kind of fascinating to me of like
Mhm.
why we are how we are.
Yeah.
So didn't mean to talk about any of that.
But the more you know,
The
get to learn
more
something new
you
about
know.
you.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. We have a listener well, she signed it, your friend, and she put her name, but she also asked to be
Yeah.
anonymous. So I shall honor that.
Mhm.
We shall.
We shall.
Amy and Kat, thanks for bringing so much laughter into my commutes. My question is about my baby's upcoming first birthday party. My husband and I struggled with fertility, so having our daughter is such a blessing. But as we plan her party, we are being very intentional about our guest list and want most of our favorite people to be there celebrating with us. We have poured so much love into her, but I do not want anyone to feel like they have to attend or to send gifts. How do we internally celebrate her with our people while not having any of them feel obligated to participate? For reference, some of our friends do not have kids or they have much older children and they're in their 30s and 40s. I'd prefer to be anonymous. I guess I know I'm not a certified therapist, but like the first thing that pops into my mind is just like being very upfront of like no obligation, no gifts, please.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I was going to point out, I think she meant to say, she wrote internally, which is what you read. I think she meant to say, how do we intentionally celebrate her?
I thought that was a little off, but I like to respect how people send it. But you're right.
It probably was just got autocorrect. Yeah.
I know, because I was like, wait, so you want to
inside-
invite everybody
but
and
you
then
don't-
just like have an internal party? Like, you know, how like if your office is doing something, like you have an
It's time for
internal
the
email.
internal party.
This is an internal thing. You're
See
external.
your way out.
I guess you don't. I work for a corporation, so if I am receiving an external email or it's internal, it's
I know what that
flagged.
means.
Oh, you do? But do you get emails like that because you work for like if you, I guess when you're emailing with your team of therapists that work with you, if somebody from the outside, is it like in all caps, external?
No, but I've gotten emails like that before.
Oh.
But I don't know that it was because of me. It might be because of their email.
Maybe they're the way they do it. Well, that's how our
Yeah.
company does it. So
Yeah.
it's like internal, external. It's like,
External.
oh, okay. So yeah,
Scary.
so good. She just wants to have an intentional,
Yes.
not an internal
Yeah.
shower
So I think
or
this
party.
is, yeah, well, you could call it a shower, but it is a birthday
It's
party.
birthday party.
I think the reason I wanted to have this question and answer this email is because it is something that is so simple, but so many people overthink. And I think a lot of people, this sounds like she doesn't want to be a burden. Like she doesn't want to burden her friends with something that they don't want to go to or obligate them to do more than she really wants them to do, whether that's buy gifts or help with the party or whatever. And something I stand by is an invitation is not an obligation. So I can invite you. It doesn't mean you have to come. You get to then make a choice. And because you're an adult, you get to make your own choices. And because I'm an adult, I don't get to manage other people's choices.
You just get to invite them.
you. Yeah. And the other part of that too with the burden is you don't get to decide if you're a burden for somebody else. We don't decide that. When we do, we cut off the ability for other people to show up for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that is part of being in relationships. Like part of it would really suck if you never let me celebrate you or if you never let me show up for you. If you never let me, it feels good when you ask a favor. You asking me to do something like that for you is you being vulnerable and also you inviting me in. It's a point of connection. So if I'm so worried about like being too much or asking too much of you, I'm going to end up just putting a wall in between our friendship. And we could be sending a message that I don't mean to be sending.
Yeah, we were just talking about that on the
Mhm.
phone this morning about
Oh, yeah.
a totally different thing, but just in friendship, how, it's fun when we were talking about the example of borrowing clothes from
Mhm.
a friend. And it's fun when, if you're both doing it, no, that doesn't mean you have to do that to have a healthy friendship, but that was the example of like, it feels good to like, oh,
Mhm.
you're going to borrow this. Like, is there anything that you want to borrow of mine?
Mhm.
Like, just so that there's that
Reciprocity.
reciprocity.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would encourage you, invite whoever you want. Also, easy to do is no gifts. That happens all the time. We just got an invitation to a 2-year-old's birthday party and it said no gifts. Now, people still are going to probably give you gifts. That's okay. You also can say, like, in lieu of gifts, please do XYZ. Like, if there's a charity or something that you really care about, or if there's something going on in your community that you care about, you can ask them to do that. And then that feels like you're like creating a greater good. But I think that also comes with like, they might donate to the charity. And then also because they love you, they might want to celebrate you and your daughter and get her something. I love buying presents for children.
Oh, yeah, it is kind of one of your things.
I love it.
Like, you love it. Like, you get like really, really, really excited. And
Yeah.
then you want to play with it. You're like, okay, now that it's open, let's.
And then I'm like, wait, I need to get one. I actually just bought my niece for her 8th birthday party. Did I show you this? I think I posted on Instagram, maybe the video of her opening it. This is what I'm talking about. It brought me so much joy. One, she invited me to her birthday party. Like, I was an adult and she was with her friends. I was so grateful to be included in that. And also her mom, my sister-in-law, said that she has been talking about doing those like acrobatic sheets, or what are they called? Like the sheets that people like dance in the sky.
Yes.
What are they called?
Aerial yoga?
Yes.
Yeah.
Silks.
Aerial
The silks. Yes,
okay.
the silks. We went to one of those jump places one time and they had some of those and she was swinging in them. And I think that mixed with she loves The Greatest Showman and it's like circus and stuff. She's been talking about them and she's like, maybe you could take her somewhere and do that. And I said, I'll do you one better. And I bought her own silk sheets to hang from their ceilings in their home. So
And she was so excited. And then you were so excited.
I did tell her mom that I bought them before I gave them to her. And I don't think they've hung them up yet, but I think they will. They also could hang them up in a tree in their backyard.
It doesn't have to
It doesn't
hang
have to be
from
their
the
house,
ceiling.
but I think she wants them in her house.
Of course,
Addie
she
does,
wants
yeah.
them in her room.
But when she opened it up, she told me I was the best aunt ever, which felt so good. But that felt good. But the thing that felt the best was when she had like the biggest smile on her face, you know? So all that to say, it might feel really special for your friends to be invited to see a celebration like that in
And
your
if
life.
they love giving kids gifts and they love
Yeah.
seeing how happy the kid is, then you might have to, if that happens, then
Yeah.
you could just say thank you.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause.
Pause.
Nothing
pause.
else. Not like, I told you no gifts. Just
Yeah.
like,
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was really kind.
mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay.
And congrats on being able to celebrate your
Mhm.
baby's first
Yeah.
birthday. Fertility is a very emotional journey. So this is something very exciting,
Mhm.
and your people are going to want to gather
Oh,
with
yeah.
you to celebrate because they likely know how difficult it was for you. So like Kat was saying earlier, don't rob anybody of that opportunity to show up for you.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Amen.
Simple.
Simple as that. We just
Jinx.
Pinch, poke, you owe me a Coke. Do you know what's
Yeah,
next?
but we do it where you do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you have to say, oh, you owe me a soda before I finish.
Oh, we would go pinch, poke, you owe me a Coke. And then you go pinch back, you owe me a 6-pack.
Well, pinch back, you owe me a 6-pack.
Huh.
Then what?
You got the hang of it. You'd be perfect at a kid's birthday.
Okay.
All right, Kat, where can people email us? Well, hold on. Before you give that, I do want to say, I know choosing this email, it does seem so simple, but it is a good reminder of any of us can have all kinds of things going on that to us, we're like, I need help navigating this. And it might be simple as asking for advice somewhere or talking to a friend. And then boom, they have a simple solution for you. And then you, yay, get to stop overthinking it because it really can be as simple as this is what you do. Boom, boom, boom. So when you're overthinking, reach out to anyone.
To us.
Well, to us or
A friend.
a friend.
But if you want to reach out to us, you can email us, heythere@feelingthingspodcast.com.
And you can call 877-207-2077.
And reminder, put Couch Talks in the subject. That's very helpful.
And like she did, she let us know, I prefer to be anonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really sometimes I'm like, we gave away details that could say who it was if there was their friend.
This could be anybody.
This could be anybody. We know she commutes though.
How do you know that? Oh.
Thanks for bringing so much laughter into my commutes.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Bye.
have the day you need to have.
Oh, yeah.
Have the party you need to have.
Bye.